Hello, my name is Hannah, and today we are building a Tudor mansion in Windenburg. Now, I spent a very long time building this house, not because it was difficult per se, but I spent so long just like fiddling with the outside because I was like, this looks ugly, this looks ugly. And then I finally figured out something that I really enjoyed, and I just kept adding details to the outside and the inside. The roof was definitely really difficult because I'm not used to that, and I was like, what does a Tudor roof look like? But I think I figured it out. I don't know if it's like a stereotypical like Tudor kind of like roof, but I definitely really liked it. And I also put like a fence in the front and the backyard, so it's cute. It's got like a bunch of bushes, and I don't know what the color scheme is. I don't really remember. I built this like a week ago, and so, it's fine. But I'm also, like yesterday's video, recording this in the middle of third period. You know why? Because my teacher today decided that he was going to do a quiz review and then proceeded to turn on loud music and then mute himself. I don't think he's doing the quiz review because they're just kind of standing next to the camera muted, so I really just don't know what's happening. But we're gonna do the quiz review, but it's not like a review for the quiz, it's a review of the quiz we took yesterday. So I really don't know what's happening. But they're just kind of sitting by the camera, so you can see them in the Zoom camera, but they're muted, both of them, because I have a teacher and a student teacher, and both of them are just like kind of just standing in their cameras, just chilling, not talking in the slightest. I don't know what the kids in class are doing, but I think we just entirely skipped the quiz review, which I'm not opposed to because I was pretty positive it was going to be really, really, really boring. Because first of all, the quiz was over safety things. And so it was like 15 questions about common sense science things that, like, don't do this in a science lab. And so, yeah, we've gone over it before, and, like, the past, 2 weeks we've been doing that. And so, I'm pretty positive you could not get a bad grade if you tried on that quiz, because it's mostly what should you not do in the science lab? And the answers are three very obviously sit down quietly, don't horse around, and then this break glass. So it's okay, this is not a hard quiz, why are we reviewing it after? So I'm just I have no clue. So instead, I am recording a voiceover and talking to myself for 15 minutes instead of doing the missing work I don't have, because apparently all of my teachers are giving us work time for missing work, which is good, but then I have literally nothing to do because they don't give us any other options, so then I just sit and do whatever I want, which is a good thing sometimes, but I'm just really bored, so I'm instead recording the voiceover for today, because I said this yesterday I didn't record enough voiceovers this weekend. So now I'm just now it's Friday, the video goes up in 6 hours, and I don't have a voiceover, nor do I think this is fully edited. So, it's fine, though. It's totally fine. I also have my computer just sitting over here on the, table next to me, and I can just see the teacher just in the camera just staring, and it's just okay, what's happening? I'm guessing they're grading something, because they're just staring intently into the camera. Should I be worried? I don't know. But today I was going to talk about some stories about the middle school bus that I took. So in middle school, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, so I think that's 12 to 11 to 13, 14 is the age group of middle school. And I took a bus for most of 7th and 8th grade. In 6th grade, I walked home with one or two of my friends, depending on the time. And so that was pretty normal, pretty basic, not really interesting. But the bus, however, was very interesting. And you can imagine putting 40, 50, 6th and 7th graders. There was a couple 8th graders. When I was an 8th grader, there was 5 of us. But when I was a 6th grader, there were 2. So I have no idea what... The 8th graders just got their own ride home, apparently. Which, unfair. But, whatever. But just putting a bunch of children in a bus, and the bus didn't have a lot of seats, and so half of us were standing, which it was a standing sitting bus, so it was fine, it was legal, it was perfectly fine, but it was crowded, no one had personal space. This would not fly in COVID season, but we didn't have that at that time, so we're just right next to each other, and like the backpacks barely had room for like anything because you couldn't take them off because there was nowhere to put them. Like there wasn't even like those like shelves at the top of the bus to put them in. And this was probably a bus that had a maximum capacity that was safe of like 30. And it was only on like days when we had like the school dance that everyone hated. Those days you'd have more like 30. Normally there's like 45, 50 on the bus, and it was really annoying. And I didn't like it, but it was the only way I was gonna get home without it taking an entire like hour. And I also didn't want to walk alone because my parents are always like, she's gonna get kidnapped, and so now I have it in my brain that I'm gonna get kidnapped if I walked through a safe neighborhood that has a school in it. Actually, the neighborhoods that I walked through are both school neighborhoods, so I don't know. There'd be a bunch of kids anyway, so I don't know. But a lot of crazy things happened on that bus, and so I'm going to talk about those. So the first one that I remember is a person, they were in my grade. They were, well, mostly a person, but it was a group of 4 friends. They were male, so they were boys in, like, I think 7th grade. It may have been 8th grade, though. But it was, yeah, the only other, like, kids in my grade in 8th grade that took the bus. But I don't know if this was in 7th grade, because in 7th grade there were more of us, but I just don't know. I know who they are, but I'm not going to say that either, because I don't want to talk about their actual, like, names on the internet. They didn't ask for this. But they started selling coffee in the back of the bus. So, like, the back of the bus is, you know, where the cool kids sit. They weren't very cool, but, you know, it's fine. But, so they would take cups from, like, the lunchroom, because they had, like, plastic cups that you could put, like, water in at, like, the condiment table, I think. Or they may have been inside the cafeteria, like, where the food is. I don't really know. I never used them. I didn't like them because they tasted like wax. They tasted like wax because they were, like, sealed in, like, a sealant or something. I don't really know. But they tasted weird, so I never used them. So they would take these plastic cups from the cafeteria, take them into their backpack, steal, like, 30 of them per day. And so, yeah, the budget for plastic cups went up quite a bit on, you know, that year. But they would take them, go to the bathroom, fill them up with hot water from the sinks, and then take them to the bus, go to the back of the bus, like, take, like, I don't know, probably, like, 35-cent coffee packets that they got from, like, Walmart or something, and just make coffee in the back of the bus and sell it to kids that were mostly, like, 6th, 7th graders, like, younger. Again, I don't know what grade we were in at this time. I just remember it was really funny. But I was in the bus at the time, and I'm just like, what are they doing back there? Because they had, like, an entire business. I saw, like, money being passed. It was, like, $4. They paid, like, people would pay, like, $4 or $5 for coffee that they made with bathroom sink water and coffee cups. So, not really sure what's happening. But it was definitely a very odd experience. But I just remember just, like, a bunch of children just walking to the back of the bus, getting coffee, coming to the front, and the school finally found out about it, like, 2 weeks into them selling coffee. And I'm just like, how did it take you that long? There were a bunch of people on that bus that would immediately be like, they're selling coffee, because that's, you know, what most people would be doing, because I don't know how legal that was. But, you know, it's fine. Middle schoolers do dumb things 24/7, you know? It's fine. And also, like, most of the time I took a bus, there were 2 buses that went different directions for the school. There was A and B bus. I took B bus. A bus had a lot more incidents, and I don't know what happened, but they had more, like, bad incidents. Like, first of all, in 6th grade, the bus, like, started smoking, and they had to evacuate, but they did something dumb. They had the people with breathing or, like, lung or, like, asthma or any, like, issues get off the bus first. And the rest of the kids had to stay in the bus because they were in full-on traffic, and so definitely the right thing to do is leave the kids in the bus. They finally got out later, but they had to get to a stopping point, and the bus was already, like, smoking at that point. So, like, people on that bus were complaining about that for the entirety of 7th or 6th grade, and I can imagine that that's a very good reason to complain about having to ride the bus if your bus starts smoking. That's just like, what? And then in 8th grade, one of the kids on A bus threw, like, 4 or 5 of those, like, packets that, like, smell horrible into the bus. and it was like horrible, and I remember like all of the kids had to get like evacuated from the bus because obviously it smelled horrible because that was the point. But we were about to go, and they did that, and then they had to take all of the like, because there were more people on that bus, so like maybe like 55, 60 on that bus out of the bus, and then just like I think they had to get a new bus, but also, honestly I don't think they would have, because the school system doesn't care that much, so they probably just would like, okay, we'll just wait a couple minutes for like the smell to die down, and then you'll get back on and go home. But like it was so weird. Things like that happened all the time on the buses. It was like where all of the like kids would congregate to do weird stuff, because obviously you couldn't do that in school because people could catch you, even though they did all the time at school. But you know, middle school is weird and rough, so I guess, you know, it's fine. Another thing, a lot of times the buses would be late. Like, school got out at 3. The buses were supposed to leave at 3:10, so like you got 10 minutes to like load the bus, and it's like fine. But half the time they would get, I think this mostly happened like later, or no, beginning of like 8th grade, maybe end of 7th grade, because, you know, I didn't go to the end of 8th grade, obviously, but it was, like, late, like, it'd be, like, 3:25 by the time the bus got there, and it, like, people would, like, riot, like, not, like middle school riot, like, yell, scream at the school, like, workers, and like be like, where's the bus? And it's just like, y'all, they cannot control how long the bus takes, and usually it's because the bus either broke down, there wasn't a bus available, and I'm just like, they can't control that. The school doesn't do anything about it. It's like from a different company that has the buses in the town, so they can't control it. So you guys can just calm down, but middle schoolers do not calm down. So it's just like, it was a mess anytime it was late, and it happened at least twice a week for a period of like a month. So it was so weird. Oh, also in 6th grade, we had this like bus driver who was super nice, but he had like an accent. I don't know what the accent was, but it was not an American accent of any type. I think he said it was an Irish accent, but I don't really know because it was like 3 years ago. But the kids in the back of the bus, mostly like boys that were in like 7th, 6th grade, would make fun of him because of his accent. And most of the other people had some brains and were like, stop doing that. And he'd also like give candy out for holidays and like give high fives to kids who were like looking sad. And it's just like, this person is so nice. Why are you being mean to him? Like, this dude, sweetest person ever, loved that bus driver. And then in 7th and 8th grade, we had like a new bus driver every like 3 weeks, because I don't know if they quit or if they just got different routes, but you know, it's fine. Oh, also in 7th grade, we had this one dude, because you had to have a bus pass to get onto the bus. If you forgot the bus pass, some of them would let you on. This dude was like, you either have to answer a trivia question or do a TikTok dance or like a Fortnite dance. I don't know what was popular at the time, but in front of the bus, in front of all the people. So most people, like the girls would answer the trivia question and the boys would do the stupid dance in front of the bus. And I'm just like, as a person who sat in the, or stood in the front of the bus most of the time, because my stop was pretty close to the front of, the trip, so I would watch it, and it was like, this person looks like he's having fun. This isn't even a punishment. Like, it's so weird. And then the trivia questions would be like, name all of the dwarves, and it's just like, okay, and I don't think I could name all of them, which may be bad, but like, it's okay. That doesn't need to happen in my brain very often. I don't need to name all of them, but I've never forgotten my bus pass, so I guess I'm okay. I don't know how I never forgot the bus pass. I guess oh no, wait, I forgot it once in 7th grade. I didn't take the bus because it was the dude's turn, and like the dude that would make you do the dance or the trivia question, and I was like, I'm not doing that. I have anxiety. That's not gonna work well. So I just called my dad and was like, I know you're sleeping, but like, can you come and get me? And so, you know, I did, because I didn't want to deal with that. But we're getting to the end of the video, so I hope you enjoyed the video. But I post a new video every day of the week, so you can watch another video tomorrow. Bye!